Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Entrepreneurs in a Game podcast. It's great to have you here, and I'm really excited to introduce you to a very special guest, Justin Krane. He is a certified financial planner and is the founder of Krane Financial Solutions. He's known for his savvy, holistic approach to financial planning, and he advises his clients on how to unite their business and personal money with their lives. He works with his clients to create purpose-driven financial plans aiming for a return on life. He manages his clients' investment portfolios for their long-term goals, such as retirement. Justin is the author of the book, Money, You Got This. It's a book about everyday, crazy, funny life experiences that we all have, with lessons for all of us. He's married and lives with his wife and 3 children in Calabasas, California. Justin is an accomplished athlete and was a former junior ranked tennis player in Los Angeles. He loves to cook, travel, speak Italian, and spend time with his family. Justin, it's such a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you very much. It's nice to be here.
And we have been in the same environment for quite a few years, but we've never chatted before. And just chatting before we came on air, I know that there's a lot of great stuff that, great experiences that you've had. I'm really, really excited about you sharing some of those with our listeners and our viewers. Now, as you know, this is all about mindset. And I'd like to dive in and ask you about how you think your mindset has helped you to achieve the success that you have so far.
Yeah, well, I'll start off by saying that my mindset for most of my life has not helped me. I've made lots of mistakes, the same pattern of mistakes, and it's only when there's a big breakdown at least for me, did I start to begin to have a big breakthrough. And there were a few instances in my life that made me aware of this pattern. And the pattern where I made lots of mistakes was not being aware of what I think, feel, and what I'm doing. Not believing in myself that I can make changes in my life to make progress, and not wanting to deal with it and just burying my head in the sand. All were around, I think, not respecting myself, not honoring myself, and not believing that I can actually make progress and succeed. So in the beginning, I was a ranked tennis player, and I was a really, really good player, but mentally I could not get it together. In my 16s, I competed in the 16 and unders, and I would have been top 10 if I had a better mindset. The first year I played, I lost first round 92 times in 1 year. Insane. And it was all about the ongoing conversation in my head, which was, you're not good enough, you don't deserve to win, and not wanting to kind of stand up on top and be seen and be vulnerable. And that same pattern repeated when I worked as a financial advisor. I worked at a professional Wall Street firm for 13 years. And in the beginning, it was cool and fun, but then I realized the environment wasn't for me. It was too salesy. I wasn't happy. And you know what I did, Nina? I did nothing. I did nothing about it for 13 years. 13 years I stayed in an environment where I wasn't really happy and excelling. I was doing well and I built a good business. So that same pattern of not believing that I could go out on my own, not believing that I could succeed, the inner game of the negative self-talk repeated again in my marriage, in my first marriage. I wasn't really aware of what I was thinking. I kind of just had my head in the sand, and some bad things happened. And had I been more aware, I would have, I think, taken the bull by the horns and believed more that what am I thinking and what do I want to have happen and how am I feeling and what am I going to do about that? Since the same pattern happened to me for 40 years. It's only after the divorce did I finally do the inner work in my 40s, entering into therapy, going to therapy once a week. And I'm 48. So I've been going once a week to therapy for 8 years, working on myself, really getting to know who I am, what am I thinking, what am I feeling, and what's important to me and what's not. And I remarried and I have a blended family, and it's still been a struggle, but I definitely have made progress. And I'd say my biggest challenge now is I lost my dad about 3 years ago. And that feeling of not having like a protective advisor, you know, conciliare, not in my life, is back to this feeling of vulnerability, and really working on the fact that I got this and I need to trust myself. So that's a long answer to a lot of things, but I had the same pattern and I finally broke it. It's not easy, and I'm still in the trenches making mistakes in life and in business, but at least I'm more aware and I'm working on myself and talking about it.
Yeah, amazing. And thank you for being so open and vulnerable as well. There's so much to talk about here. I mean, you've just done a real lovely brain dump. What made you think, or was it a realization that actually I'm the one who's doing all of this stuff? It's not anyone doing this to me, and then I need to do some work on myself. What happened that made you think that thought?
My therapist. I mean, I think a really good therapist is going to facilitate you to get you to realize that and to get you to work on that. And really, what I had a hard time doing was seeing reality in all of those three instances. Well, why am I thinking that way, and what's really going on? And he just facilitated me to explore that. So I guess it would be my therapist, and just asking questions and all that. And I have like everyone has life issues and work issues that they have to work through. It's not just me. And I'm smart enough to know that. And I see that with everyone. So, I'm just sharing it with you and trying to figure it out as we put one foot in front of the other.
And why do you think that mindset is so important? Let's bring it back to business and being an entrepreneur. Why do you think mindset is such an important part of running a business? And why do you think it's so overlooked?
Well, I think, you can Google anything on business strategy and you can get an answer to anything. Literally, it's all there. All the info is there. Like, we have all of the answers. I think really it's ourselves. And I think accountability is a big thing. I think everyone needs that. And then I know, just for me, both in my own business and just, I guess, how I think about financial planning with clients and just in the world, like when I look at success, and most people, they succeed long term. They don't get rich quick overnight. You hear about that and see that on Facebook or Instagram or Shark Tank, but most of the time it's the little things that compound over time to produce long-term results. So it's, like, if a business owner grows at 10% a year for like 20 years, that's huge. Literally, you could grow 10% a year. That's huge. If you invest and compound and make 5, 6, 7% and add money each year, it's huge. So what I think mindset is about for me and in my business is consistent small wins compounded over time. And doing, a lot of the times, it's doing the same thing. It's not doing 62 things. It's having the willpower to do the same thing that produces results and stick to it.
And why do you think so many entrepreneurs don't do that? It sounds so simple, doesn't it? The strategy sounds so simple. It's almost like, you find the one thing, the one strategy that's going to give you the results you want. And you just show up every day and you do that strategy. You keep refining it and improving it, etc. And you get results and you do more and more and more. So why do, I would say, most entrepreneurs not do that one simple thing?
I think, well, first of all, I'm going to ask you that question, but I'm going to give you my answer. My answer is I think people get bored. They try to reinvent the wheel. It's like, and, I think also, okay, so I'll give you, so I think if they get bored and they're trying to reinvent the wheel, but I'll tell you how I got sidetracked. I got sidetracked because I didn't bring enough meaning into what I did. And I found the meaning outside of my business, personally, spiritually. It's only when I brought some of that meaning back into my business did I find that I could still do it every day and have success and results with it. Why do you think, Nina, entrepreneurs get sidetracked and they don't do the same kinds of things to produce consistent results?
That's a great question, Justin, and thank you for asking me that. I believe it's because on some level, they don't believe they deserve the success and they will sabotage that success. And when they may hit a higher level in their business, they may be working with a high level client, or maybe there's some great opportunity that they've said yes to. They feel on some level they don't deserve that great opportunity or to be doing that well. And then they will somehow fall back down into their comfort zone again. So there's something that pulls them back, and it's their limiting thinking about themselves. And they believe they're here to play small. It's for other people to play big and do really well and shine, but they don't deserve to do that. So this deservedness and unworthiness, from what I've seen, working with hundreds of clients, is the root cause. And at some level, it will show up in their behavior until they can dissolve that. So very much as we were talking about, when you were playing tennis, there's a part of you that didn't feel that you deserved to win. And therefore, you kept, making sure that you didn't win. And as you've seen with the top tennis players, it's very much a mental game because they're all amazing. What they do is probably very little that separates their shots, but it's that mental game, isn't it, which is everything. I'd like to go. So carry on.
Can I ask you a question?
Please do.
Do you think that part of that thought process of people not deserving to succeed or win comes from who they were as a kid, their upbringing with their parents, and their experiences as a child?
I think a lot of the unworthiness issues come from early childhood, and they come from not anything that their parents said or did, or their teachers said or did, or their siblings, but from the meanings and the stories they made up about what their parents said. So, for example, if a parent, say the child wanted a new bike, and the mum or dad said, no, you haven't been good enough to have it, or whatever it is, or you haven't behaved enough to have it, then that child might think, oh, they don't think I'm worthy of having a bike, or I deserve to have a bike, or I'm good enough to have a bike. So this is it's the way that we interpret what's going on in the outside world and the meanings that we create about the outside world. This is how we create our limiting beliefs. So we don't know as children that there are a lot of choices about how we interpret that event. We can interpret it to say, actually, I am worthy, I just didn't get the bike. But we don't understand. We're not taught how to think like that, and that we can reframe that event in different ways. And therefore, we grow up with these thoughts about ourselves that limit us, and then we carry them into our adult life. And we keep repeating, as you said, the same patterns again and again, because we want more evidence that we're right and our limiting beliefs are true about us, even to the detriment of our own happiness. We will carry on behaving like that until we wake up one day and say, actually, I've got to sort this out because I'm not happy.
I got to ask you another question because I'm working on this right now. Controlling your thoughts. I have these thoughts that come into my head, like, what if this happens? Oh my God, can you pull this off or whatever, and it's almost like, I need to work on saying, oh, there I go again with those thoughts of trying to freak myself out, or I'm doing it again. I'm stressing out about blah, blah, blah. It sounds so easy to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to stop that thought, don't come in. How do you do that? How do you do that in your business and in your life? How do you control your thoughts? How do you really control your thoughts?
Yeah, that's as you said, it sounds so simple to do, but it's so challenging to do. There are two answers. One is the way that I work with my clients. So whenever there's a challenge, when you really feel, well, I can't do that, or that's too difficult, etc., then it's finding the limiting beliefs which are underpinning that pattern of thinking. So if you're feeling I can't do that, then there may be a limiting belief that, I can't achieve what I want, or I can't have all the success I want, or whatever that limiting belief is. And then I use a process to help my clients to dissolve that limiting belief in their subconscious. And what that process does is that it shows that limiting belief to actually be a lie. And when you expose something to be a lie, you don't believe in it anymore. You can't buy into it anymore. So it's like pulling back the curtain on it. The other way is that it is constant vigilance. You are constantly aware of your thinking. You said awareness kicked in, and you realized you'd been repeating all these patterns and that you had been doing it. So the awareness, once you get the awareness, then it's almost like you are always observing your thoughts, and you make that into a habit. And it's really hard at the beginning because we keep falling off the wagon again and again, because the ego kicks in and suddenly you've gone into this downward spiral of thinking again. Then you think, oh, I did it again. But the more you catch it, the more you disrupt that level of thinking, the more it becomes automatic. So I did an experiment. I wrote about it on my, I wrote about it, I emailed my list about it. My experiment was to say, whenever I catch myself thinking negative thoughts, I immediately say to myself, oh, I'm just making all that up.
Yeah,
it's not true about me. And that just disrupts. Now, we all want a peaceful life. We want a happy life. We want all these great things, but we're not willing to do the work to get to that stage. And this constant vigilance is the work that we need to do, the implementation we need to do to get that peaceful mind. And most of the time we start off and we're quite enthusiastic. We may get some small wins along the way. We think, oh, this is working. Next day we wake up and think, oh, it's just really hard, and the thoughts keep creeping back. I know, I'll pick up again later on tomorrow or whatever it is, and we let it go. And then we look for the next quick fix, the next quick fix. But if we were to be vigilant and disrupt our negative thinking and say, I'm just making it up, it's not true about me, then it becomes a habit. So as soon as you get into that negative thinking, your mind immediately goes, just making that up. And that's when you start getting some clear blue water in your thinking. And I'm at that stage. I'm weeks into this experiment that my mind is just clearer, it's sharper, I'm more productive, and I've just got this lovely space in my mind. And so the next step for me now is to bring in the gratitude, which, as we know, is such a powerful emotion. So now I want to make the soundtrack in my mind, thank you, and just run it as my background music all day long. So I wake up, first thing I think is thank you. Last thing I say at night is thank you. And just filling that my mind with that one grateful thought.
Wow. We should just end right there.
But it takes work. It takes persistence. And we said that implementation is everything. As a business owner, and keeping our lives on track is everything.
Sure.
Let me ask you about, you said that you found the way to bring meaning back into your business. What do you mean by that? Then how have you done that?
It's so the short answer is return on life rather than return on investment. So I've been able to bring meaning in by giving my clients a return on their life, not when they're 85. Like here's my spiel on that. Investing and financial planning and retirement planning. Like usually people are like, okay, I'm going to save $400 a month for 37 years. And when I'm 89 years old, I'm going to have $16 billion. Like, great. Okay, so you're 89 with $16 billion. What are you going to do at 89? I mean, you can do some stuff, but you can't do what you could do at 39, 49, 59, 69. So you have to find that balance between spending and saving. You have to get clear on what's important to you. And you actually have to spend money so that you can get a return on life today. Like, it's okay. Like, we were talking before the show, like, I took my family to London and Israel, which, like, I was freaking out spending the money, freaking out. I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing? I didn't know COVID was going to hit 6 months later. And I'm like, wow, thank God I did that trip. That was a wonderful trip. That was spending money, not investing money. That was money out, not money in. To me, that's still return on life. It's using your money wisely and being congruent with your values and what's important to you. So I think return on life is the key thing. I think, of course, you need to save for your future, but you also have to live for today. And, when my father died, then I finally got real with mortality, and that at some point I'm not going to be here. I thought I was going to live forever, or I didn't want to face the fact that I wouldn't live forever. So I like return on life.
And what does that mean to you? What impact has it had on your life living like that? How has it changed things for you? How has it altered your perception of life?
Well, for business, I've simply been able to help people. I've been able to help my clients be happy. I think, happiness or love is the ultimate currency, right, in the world. And then for me, return on life is experiences. It's not things. So it's doing things, doing experiences. That's how it's made me happier. Going places, even a walk on the beach, a glass of wine, a trip. I just went with my son to go visit colleges a few weeks ago. And that was a great experience. I'm so happy for him that he's going to grow up and get to do the things that I did, and he's going to be independent. I'm a little bit bummed that he's like leaving and going off in the world. And, maybe that's my new mindset work, but it's just experiences and enjoying them.
Living more in the moment?
Yeah, I'm getting better at living in the present. I used to live in the present about 1% of the time. Now I'm up to about 2% or 3%. So
that's huge.
I've doubled.
Trebled even.
Yeah. But look, I mean, I'm in the trenches on mindset, totally in the trenches. But I think my growth in business is really been about clarity and business model. I think that's really, we haven't talked a lot about business, but I really think that, you can use your mindset to create a business model that works for you. And that's a good one too.
How did you find that?
So a business model is, how is it that you're doing the work and what is it that you're doing to get paid? So if you're a realtor and you're working really, really hard and you're up at 2 a.m. signing escrow papers and counter offers and all of that, and if I don't like the chandelier in the house, I'm not going to buy the house. The realtor isn't going to get paid. So the business model of a realtor, I hate to pick on realtors. They do great work, but they work really, really, really hard to get paid one time, and the deal could get killed all these different ways. That's a very hard business model. I'd rather work with a client forever or longer term and get paid throughout the relationship, more like an annuity, and also help the client along the way. If you just work with a client one time, you've helped them and then you're done and you got to go find the next one. So if you can come up with a business model that serves both you and the client, I think you're going to have a better return on life and maybe a better mindset. Or maybe you need the mindset to get the business model, but I think they can go hand in hand.
I agree, absolutely. What's the biggest lesson life's taught you so far?
Oh my God. We haven't talked a lot about faith, but I really think it's faith. I really think it's believing in, for me, it's God, but for people, it could be the universe, or it could be just, themselves or what have you. But it's having faith in knowing that things will be okay, even if you don't know the how. Because I'm very, concrete in my thinking, and faith is completely like foreign. It's like there's no real tangible something. So faith for me really if if you really drill down to it, it's been that for me.
Yeah, I agree. For me also, it's faith and trust that everything is perfect as it is, even if you can't actually see the silver lining in the moment. It's all happening for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's two quotes that I love. One is the Martin Luther King one where, just take the first step. You don't have to see the whole staircase, that one. I love that one. And then I love this one by Steve Jobs, which he says basically, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect the dots looking backwards to see the steps that you've taken to get to where you got with your life or with what have you. I was always trying to connect the dots. If I do this, this can happen, blah, blah, blah. But you can't. You have to have faith that things will work out. Then you can look back and see what happened.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's like very much being in the moment and taking the best action you can in the moment, rather than just keep projecting out into the future and worrying about, what will happen next, etc. So yeah. This is a really, really powerful, that's a really powerful quote. How can our listeners and our viewers find out more about you and the work that you do?
I wrote a post about 3 things that people can do. I think it's really more like three things that millionaires do to continue to grow their wealth. So they can go to intentionmoney.com, intentionmoney.com. And there's plenty of info there. And then you can find me on all the various social media channels.
Fantastic. And thank you so much for being an amazing guest and, for just being so honest about stuff as well, because, it's the stuff that works, but also stuff that doesn't work, which a lot of people can get so much out of that. And also for interviewing me as well. That's been really interesting as well. So thank you.
I have one final question for you. Over your right shoulder is a picture of 3 people. Mm-hmm. Who are those people?
That's me and my children.
How old are they?
I have 4 children. The oldest is Emily. You can see in that photo there. And then I've got 3 boys. Emily's 25, she'll be 26 next month. Wow. And then the boys are 24, 21, and 19.
Okay, are you like do people think you're like their sister or something? So young.
Thank you. I'll keep this bit in the interview, obviously.
Yes.
Because this is the best bit.
In the show notes, you need to put a link to the photo that you have over your right shoulder.
Thank you.
So
Thank
everyone
you very much.
Can see that.
And it's funny because you were saying you're showing your oldest son colleges. All of mine have left home. And it's just it's such a big deal. It really is when they start leaving home. So I do feel for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Make the most of them while they're still there because they grow up so quickly. Yeah. Justin, it's been such a pleasure. And thank you so much for being here. And for everyone who's been watching and listening, thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, bye-bye for now.